What's up, fellow grounded travelers? It's Eliz from Means to Travel, and today we're going to be shifting gears a little bit from our regular programming on this channel, and I'm going to start a small interview series with some of my friends around the globe so we can learn about how the COVID-19 virus is affecting daily life in different countries. I'm here in the US right now, sitting in my office in Chicago, and I have my friend Graham on, who is based over in England. And without further ado, I'm just gonna let Graham introduce himself quickly and tell us exactly where he's located within the UK. Hey, Graham.
Hi, Eliz. Hi. Hello, grounded travellers as well. Can I say that? It's your catchphrase. I don't want to creep in. So I live in England. I live in pretty much the middle of England, a city called Milton Keynes. It's about sort of 40-ish miles north of London, 60 kilometres, something like that. If anyone knows where Oxford and Cambridge are, kind of geographically in England, it's like right in the middle of those two. So pretty much in the middle of the country, never see the sea. That's where I am.
Well, when I visited London last fall, I was able to grab some pints with Graham in London, and he and I brought up on the map exactly where Milton Keynes is. And I've been to Cambridge, I've been to Oxford, and now I know exactly where he is too.
That's it, right in the middle. Fun fact, where I live, actually, the small town where I live in Milton Keynes is, people might know it from, there was a film with Benedict Cumberbatch about the Enigma code breaking.
Oh yeah.
Park, that's where I live. So, you know what though, it's a big museum. I've never been there. I live like walking distance away. I've never been, but well, one day maybe. Now I'll get the chance, because you know.
Right, now you're gonna have a lot more of your local touring.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah, well, I guess one thing that I should ask before anything else is, are you currently in self-quarantine, in social distancing mode? What's going on over there?
Right, what's going on? Well, so I'm not self-isolating, or I'm not sick. I don't know anyone who's become sick, or anyone who knows someone. So in terms of my personal experience, I'm pretty far away from the reality of it, I guess. But as a sort of nation, we have been only encouraged at the moment to socially distance. And that's kind of bled into where I work as well. I'm an engineer, and I work in a manufacturing site. So there was lots of office staff and lots of manufacturing staff there. So we've been encouraged to kind of, keep our distance a little bit more than we would normally, kind of touching elbows instead of shaking hands, and a knowing nod and that sort of thing. Nothing, and little things. We have this sort of convention. If it's your birthday, you bring in like some sweet treats and stuff people can have, but that's kind of been put on hold until further notice, just to really kind of keep everyone a little bit further apart than they used to be. So we've definitely been encouraged to do that, but there's been no kind of actual legal shutdown. Well, maybe there sort of has been an announcement today. I'll go into that later on. But I'm still working. I still go to work. So my normal routine for me has not changed. Loads of my friends, it's changed quite a bit. I've got a few friends working from home. My partner works from home, just over there. But for me, my work, because it's a manufacturing site, they need people to be in, and it's the end of the year as well. We need to try and make budget, and for a lot of businesses, that's a big strain, especially manufacturing businesses. Your financial year runs from point to point, and ours ends at the end of this month, and we need to ship. It's quite expensive capital equipment that we make. So if we don't ship a few of these things, we are maybe a few million euros out of pocket, and we don't could do without being that far down. So we're trying to really scrabble to get things done before we're kind of made to stay at home or keep our distance. So that's the deal. So for me, my routine's not really changed too much. I think it will do though in the few coming weeks.
Yeah, so we were talking off recording right before this, and you were saying that you feel like potentially you could get set up to work from home eventually. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm a design engineer, so I really just draw pictures, and I can do that from anywhere. But like I said, there's loads of people who can't. I'm pretty lucky, but like, personal opinion, well, not personal opinion really, the science says that if you can stay away from other people to sort of slow, the spread of the virus down, you really should do. It's almost like a social responsibility.
Right.
That's an opportunity not afforded to me, but I think given the equipment and given the need, the growing need, I think it will happen, pretty soon. So yeah.
So is there any other way that you feel like your daily routine has shifted outside of work?
Do you know, to be honest, not really. I'm doing the same things. I didn't go out like a huge amount. I live with my partner. We cook a lot, so that's not changed. So we did go out last night to a restaurant on the basis that we might not be able to for a long time. So we get out now. So far that's worked out okay. Fingers crossed. But no, I mean, I'm not going to I used to go to the gym quite a bit, but I've kind of given that a miss. But like I said, I'm only socially distancing, so I can go out for runs. The weather's just turning like a bit nicer here now, so I don't like to run in kind of near freezing temperatures.
Right.
I'm sort of minimum about 15 degrees. I mean, just about getting there now, so I'll try and get out a bit more and do some exercise that way. But pretty much it's just the gym that's kind of suffered at the moment. I haven't got any children, but they announced today that the schools are going to close on Friday afternoon.
Oh, wow.
So again, that doesn't affect me, but that will affect an awful lot of people, I think, and they'll just have no choice. They'll stay at home. Yeah. So, but no, routine is at the moment pretty much the same. I have not been to the supermarkets. When I go there again, that's going to change my perspective.
Yeah. When's the last time you've been? Because I feel like it keeps getting more and more crazy here.
It does. Yeah. I think I went last week at some point, and it was okay. There's like a few missing, like very obvious missing products. Toilet paper is obviously the big one.
Oh, so you guys have the same issue?
Yeah, it's crazy, and I don't really understand why. It's not a disease that affects that part of the body.
Right.
So much. So I don't really know why everyone's gone crazy with toilet paper. I think maybe that there's this idea that it all comes from China and they shut down the factories. So maybe that's the reason. But there is plenty for everyone if everyone just takes what they need or buys what they need. People don't, which I find quite fascinating because all we can talk about at work is like how crazy people can be. Yeah, none of us know any of these people. So who are these people?
Right.
Where are they come from?
Those people are not fessing up.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's it. But I've got one of my colleagues. He really is in need of some payroll. So, what are you going to do? And
Right.
if it gets sold to work from home, he's in real trouble because he hasn't got the work supply to go
Exactly. Oh man.
But yeah, so that's I think that's where it started, and then it quickly moved on to pasta. Everyone's crazy for pasta.
Really?
Yeah, pasta's gone. I think, and I can kind of, if you're going to panic buy something, non-perishable, dried goods, pretty good safe bet. Also, they're quite energy dense, pasta. So, good choice. Well done, crazy people. But then alongside that, we got the shortage of top tomatoes. Last time I went last week, no top tomatoes.
Interesting.
Like canned tomatoes. So I think maybe people are sort of going, well, Italy's screwed, so I need to get all the Italian products.
Yeah.
What am I going to do when I really need bolognese or lasagna in a week's time? I don't know.
Right.
Pile in but anyway, that's what's going on. Luckily, beer, wine still available.
That's good. Actually, we are running low of our home supply on that. And so we're trying to figure out how to fix that right now.
I bet, yeah.
Completely out of White Claw, which is fine by me, but we have some wine left. We are out of cider. We're out of beer.
So what's the deal in the States now, like supermarket wise?
I think it actually sounds pretty similar. I, of course, have not been to a supermarket since coming back.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I can't speak with firsthand experience, but from what I hear, a lot of the paper goods are running low, and there's actually a presidential address. I think it was on Saturday. We have them like every day now, I feel, but he brought in the CEOs and executives from a lot of the pharmacies and different suppliers nationwide. So one of our big ones, kind of like the Boots equivalent in the UK, the one here called CVS. The guy that was speaking was saying that they're really having trouble with all paper goods supplies. So I think that's toilet paper plus paper towels and Kleenex.
Right.
Kleenex makes sense because like it's a flu, you know, and you should like sneeze into a Kleenex and throw it away.
Sure.
But paper towel.
Handy substitute for toilet paper too. You know,
right.
It comes to it, right? So.
Technically, I think you're not supposed to flush those down the toilet, but we won't get into that on this channel.
Let's not get into that. It's the wrong corner for that sort of.
But anyway, so yeah, I know that that's the biggest issue, and then pretty much all things that have the longer expiration date. So whether that's like canned soup or canned vegetables, I hear are very hard to come by. We weren't able to get any canned vegetables when we were ordering online. We were able to get pasta.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Delicious pasta and cheese. That's all you need.
Yeah, maybe it's changing, you know, rapidly because we ordered on Saturday morning. So.
Oh, okay, sure. Did you receive it on Saturday? The order?
Oh, we received it Monday afternoon.
Oh, right, okay, fine.
So it took 2.5 days to get somebody to between ordering it and get them out of their house. So we only live a mile from the store, so.
Right. I think that is definitely the situation here. People are saying that they can't get a delivery slot for weeks in advance.
Oh, weeks! Wow.
Yeah, weeks in advance. But I got an email from one of the big stores, Tesco's over here.
Yeah.
There's like 4 or 5 big kind of supermarket chains, and I think they agreed between themselves that they were going to take like certain measures to make sure they're all kind of basically doing the same thing rather than one kind of rationing certain things while another supermarket isn't. So they've all kind of I think put a completely boundless 3 products, 3 of one type of product per customer.
Interesting.
Like on all products. So you can only buy if you want, I don't know, whatever. If you want some canned tomatoes, 3. That's your lot. That's all you're getting. Now, you know, there are holes in that. Obviously, someone could just go in, buy 3, and then just kind of go around, go to a different cashier or something. Just me and my partner here, so we can get by on just like 1 or 2 cans of tomatoes or whatever we need, or 1 pack of toilet paper, and that's all we want to take. But I can imagine actually that might be a problem if you do have a large family, or if you're buying for a lot of other people, then that could be an issue. But I don't know how they're going to solve that. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
You know? And then the other one is that they're going to prioritize the over 70s in terms of delivery slots for food, and also they're going to, I think, have dedicated shopping hours for just like the over 70s on like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. They can go in for like an hour in the morning when it's just going to be them. I have no idea how they're going to police this, whether they're going to be asking for ID at the door or something. I don't know, but they have asked for like, can you please respect this? And, you know, I get it. It's good. It's a good measure. They want to be, you know, distancing as much as anyone. And so to come into a supermarket or a place where lots of people go, and it's, you know, it's just those guys, that, you know, I think that's a good idea.
All right, so we had a quick pause because as you guys probably were hearing just like me, I could hear an echo every time I spoke, and so Graham went and grabbed some headphones, and I think we're good to go.
Super stylish. Yeah. That's all right. So yeah, sorry guys if I had a big echo there. Never mind.
You're good now.
There. Yeah. So now you can hear all the nonsense much more clearly.
Now we're gonna hear you crystal clear.
Crystal clear, absolute garbage coming out. Okay, great. Let's go for it.
Rubbish, as you like to say, right?
Right. Yeah, rubbish. Yeah, I you know, American that up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so is there anything that you wish that you have right now that you can't get?
You know, so not really. I mean, there's loads of stuff that I wish I could have, but the fact that it's not available isn't the problem. Mm-hmm. It's just not in my budget, I guess. If that's the, you know, that's the main thing, you know, because otherwise I'd just be surrounded by gadgets and stuff.
Maybe when you do finally make it back to the store, you'll have a few things that we'll see.
Yeah, no, I mean, so like I said, so far, I've not really encountered anything that I've really needed that I've not been able to get.
Yeah.
But I've not really needed anything. Like our cupboards have got some food in, and I guess perishable stuff, but always managed to sort of get hold of that. And I have kind of tried to keep the needs fairly simple, I guess. So we had some nice fried rice for dinner this evening, just pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so not really. How about you? Have you
Funny, the thing that I wish that I had ordered for groceries was avocados, and I've heard that they're hard to come by anyway. But
right?
I really wish that I had some guacamole, because I feel like a lot of the things that I am
Yeah.
cooking that are like, oh, I'll take some frozen burger patties out of the freezer, or
Hmm.
we're making tacos with some of the meat that we have or something. Everything kind of goes better with guacamole, even like a poached egg on toast.
Oh yeah,
You
definitely.
add guacamole to it, you're just a little bit happier.
That's it. I mean, how are you supposed to eat sushi at a time like this without guacamole? Or without avocado? You can't do
And
it. We are really reaching the end of the world. You can't get a simple avocado.
I know.
But
I'm
it's
gonna
just,
sound like such a bougie person with that answer, but it's totally the truth. Right now.
that's fair enough. So I guess it's the same in the States, but over here we have like different supermarkets at like kind of different price points, I guess. And there's like a certain part of society that you associate with like different supermarkets, I suppose. And
Yeah.
one of the kind of higher end one is called Waitrose.
Yeah.
And they it's the sort of you always have like the basic range of like food, the kind of essential range that the supermarket will produce.
Right.
And they have things like I think they have a product called Essential Hummus. Like it's that level of kind of that's the customer that they're expecting to come in and go, well, goddamn, why can't I get? I'm gonna get some. It's essential. Why can't I get
This
some
is a
hummus?
very basic part of their diet.
Absolutely basic part of their diet. Yeah, they can't live without it. When you got people. Pastas off the shelves, I think I mentioned, and people go, well, I absolutely need couscous. What am I supposed to do? Is Kevin supposed to eat this evening without couscous? That sort of thing.
I think we're all
Anyway, there we go. So
figuring out what we really do need and what we can.
yeah, I mean the other bright side of all this is that you're probably going to end up being a lot more creative about how you make food.
Yeah.
Yeah, just slam some things together and see what happens.
Yeah. Or like, because we all have access to the internet still, so trying new recipes and
Yeah,
being
sure.
inspired by each other.
Yeah, that's a good point. In all of human history, this is like it's a blessing and a curse. Like we're all over the world all the time, which is why this whole thing has blown up the way it has. But at the same time, if you've got to like self-isolate or socially distance or whatever, it's the best time in history to do it, because you've got all of the streaming services, you've got YouTube, Netflix. They're gonna do all right out of this. So so there's loads of stuff to entertain you and keep you from just crying yourself to sleep every day.
Exactly. And a lot of the online learning classes, the ones that are subscription based, are making
Yeah.
it free for 2 months or something like that.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right. I heard
there's a lot that's available, and even workout classes.
right. Oh, okay. Like online workout classes.
Yeah. There's streaming services that just have workout classes.
Yeah, I think you had a live stream
Yes.
Monday. Yeah, I think you mentioned it in there.
Monday. And yeah, it's a Beachbody. We signed up for a free version of that. They have everything
Sure.
from P90x to yoga. So
P90x. You tried that?
no.
No.
I actually was having Derek describe to me the difference between P90 and P90x, and he's like, well, P90 is for you, and then P90x is like the extreme. That's why there's an X there.
Right, yeah. I think I tried it for about 10 minutes and I just could not cope at all. But I think that was a big mistake. That was like off the back of not having done exercise for like a year or something, like as in serious exercise.
So that's why for me, I wouldn't like even bother, because I know that it's going to be just the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, sure. But I forget his name, the guy in charge of all that. He's quite motivating. He's quite a good. He's a good personality. Yeah, sure.
Good.
He's like, come on, guys, doing all that, clapping you
So
along.
if you're watching, don't feel discouraged. You can totally go and try.
Yeah, you can definitely do it. Absolutely, you can do it. apart from you can't do it unless you're him or one of his like people behind him who are just like the fittest people in the world. They're like doing 100 press ups and go, okay, that's great warm up, guys. You're like, what? Just sweat dripping down. Okay, just 3 more hours. Yeah, that sort of thing. Anyway, but absolutely do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's great fun.
So one of the other questions I wanted to make sure to ask you is, how do you feel like generally the people around you, everyone that you know, as well as you, are coping?
I think everyone's coping quite well, because there is some crazy stuff going on. Like it's not crazy, but it's just unprecedented. Like no one's ever seen this before. I think ever, right? No one's, so no one really knows what to do. But the main issue is that it is just the only topic of conversation.
Yeah.
Like everything else just disappeared into nothing. There's no like, oh, what'd you get up to yesterday or whatever. It's just, oh, this is what happened in COVID-19, like today or whatever. So, it's just completely taken over. Like not just the way we need to behave in society and so on, but just everything. So that's proving tough, because after a while you get a bit COVIDed out a little bit. You kind of, oh, this is pretty dull. Can we just not talk about, can we talk about, and of course it's like just the news. It's just all of this. And I kind of get, these days I kind of get my news just from the internet, like short bursts, which is probably terrible. But if you go to a trusted source and just kind of get the headlines, if you want to read more or want to look at it more, you can do that. But it's just, news programs now, I can't cope.
Yeah.
So, but that, I mean, other than that,
what would you describe the news programs like in the UK? Because the ones here, I mean, it all depends on what you watch. You can
oh, sure.
You can get your like dose of kind of like, I don't know, fluffy news, or you can get things that are very biased. You can get anything in between.
Yeah, you on TV, on like the network TV, you don't tend to get like overtly biased stuff, but like I'm sure when I was growing up, it was very factual. Like these are the facts, and it's definitely come into now. They're always looking for some sort of human story behind what's happened, whatever the news is. They're always looking for somebody to interview or some person on the street to shed an opinion that no one, that they're not qualified to give or something. So it's kind of, for me, it's kind of hard work, because I end up just shouting at the TV going, who cares what you think?
Right.
Like, what are the facts? But so that's why I've kind of backed off, but it's not overtly biased one side or the other. It's pretty, I just find it a bit lengthy, like than it needs to be. And like, sometimes it needs to be, in depth, but these days, I just like, I guess maybe I'm just from the time, I'm now 38, just to give people an idea of where I'm coming from. I guess I was sort of grown up. Now we've got all this sort of technology, and I'm just, I can use it quite well, and I want, things immediately at my fingertips, because I've now come to expect that. Whereas I think maybe
you get everything pushed to you on your phone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Basically, it's like, interruption.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't do anything with that. So, and of course, if you go to any streaming services like YouTube and stuff, it just learns what you want to look at. So it just pushes that to you, and you just, okay. So yeah, there is a lot of distractions. Although Instagram has now, let me see if I can just get this up. I think it's trying to do its bit by, let me just load. I say that and it's not done it. It's just given me a nice photo of like a beach or something. Great, thanks Instagram. Thanks Vince Lim Photo.
I should probably, while Graham's doing this, I should shout out his Instagram handle, because that's kind of how we met, was Instagram.
Yeah.
And our shared interest in travel photography. So his Instagram handle's at Graham Shellswell.
Graham Shellswell.
We'll put a little thing.
Oh, great, little thing
somewhere.
there or there.
It's going to be on the screen.
Okay, sure.
Somewhere.
Okay, great. That'll be, be nice. If you, I'm very kind of, ambivalent's the wrong word, but I do like followers who actually like my photos. And if you think, I'm not interested in that, don't follow me. Yeah. I'm not really out for followers, but it's nice, you kind of, you get a bit of the I don't know what it's called. There must be a name for it, but when it's like someone follows you, like, oh, that's nice. Gives you like a kind of warm feeling for like 2 seconds, and then, you know, back to.
It validates your creative work.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
You do this.
That's really.
You do this
really
as
nice.
a hobby and as
I do, yeah.
an outlet. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, I guess it is nice when someone goes, "Oh, good work," and I go, "Thanks, you
And
too."
Coming from me, I'm telling you, he has really good work. So.
Oh, thanks very much. That's very kind. I'm gonna let the internet decide.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, thanks very much. So yes, back to Instagram. So they were showing me when I loaded up the app, and it scrolled to the top of the feed as it normally does. It would have a little area where you could click on and go to the National Health Service (NHS) website straight there, and get and straight to the page where it's like the latest information of what you should do and things like that. It didn't do it. I mean, I looked at it today, so maybe it decided, oh, you've already seen this, I'm not going to bother you again.
Yeah.
But it's sort of doing that, so it is pushing you towards kind of areas of information. That's really helpful. So good job, Instagram. Nice work.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we don't have something like that here in the States because our healthcare system is so different too.
Yeah, how's that holding up?
I guess okay so far.
Okay.
I don't even really know how to answer that because it all depends on who you are.
Right. That's just so in Britain, for people who don't know, where we have a free health service. I mean, it's not free, obviously. It's paid for by taxes, but basically anyone can.
And it's called the NHS, which is what he was.
Called the NHS, National Health Service. It's the largest employer in the country, for obvious reasons, and that's where. I would say 99% of people, probably more than that, like 99.9% of people will get all of their health cover sorted out, right? So anything from like, I've got a cold to kind of cancer, right? Everything in between is handled by them. Now you can get private healthcare, but usually to activate some of that, you might have to go and see a general practitioner first, and they'll say, oh, you know, you need to do this, and then you can kind of get onto your health insurance or whatever, and maybe see someone privately. But that's at your own cost. And depending on who you are, you do get treated slightly differently depending on who you are, but it's nothing to do with your economic status. It's more to do with like, they give, it seems to me, because I'm fairly healthy, you know, not middle-aged, but kind of younger-ish person. I go in and I usually get, see if it gets better in 4 weeks, come back then. You know, that's usually and you know what, it probably does. Like they don't hand out, because it's paid for by taxes, like money stretched. So they don't just hand out medication everywhere. So you could see that as a drawback, but you could see it as a benefit, because they're not just handing out antibiotics. It's probably good for the population rather than bad, but they will do it.
Do something around COVID-19.
Well,
understanding from the UK is that the system might start to get really stretched if there's people entering into hospital or something.
Absolutely. So already the system's pretty stretched just with your normal illnesses, and especially as people get older, they tend to get ill more, and they tend to, you know, break more often, and they need more help and more treatment. And of course this comes along, and it's like, well, this is, you know, something they have to focus on. So everything's really stretched now, which is even more important that people kind of pay attention to kind of smoothing out. We spoke a bit earlier about smoothing out that kind of curve of illness, and just spacing out. If you just accept that at some stage, an amount of the population, whatever it's going to be, I think 40 to 70%. I mean, that's just like throwing some paint at a wall and seeing which bit, you know, whatever.
Right. But
you know,
I mean, we're all like more likely than not to get exposed at some point.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, but if we can just sort of stifle that out, I saw a YouTube video, I think from the Vox channel the other day, which did you see that one?
I think I did.
Right.
Tell me what you're
really
talking about.
Beautifully explained why like self-isolation is, you know, good, because you don't want to, if you think you've been exposed, to not try and expose other people. But explained social distancing, or the need for it, really beautifully. I encourage anyone to go and have a watch of that. I think if you just search Vox on YouTube, it was like the first one to come up. And
that's VOX.
VOX, yeah. And that kind of really did the job for me to kind of go, I get it now. That's why everyone needs it. It's not about like trying not to get sick. Well, I guess it is trying not to get sick, but it's also about like trying to space out all the illnesses so that you don't overwhelm the health system. And that's really important in this country because, yeah, we're going to struggle to cope. So
it's
if
really
everyone just
everywhere, because it sounds like no country is really prepared for something this massive.
That's it. If you just get 20% of your population turn up to the hospital on like this in the same week, that is a problem. So for sure. So yeah, guys, kind of, you know, think about that.
Totally. So I guess let's shift gears to something a little happier. I don't know if it will be happier, actually. So I was going to ask you about St. Patrick's Day, because this week on Tuesday was St. Patrick's Day.
Sure.
And tell me what it's typically like around your town versus what it was like this year.
You know what? I don't really know. It's not so. It's a real Irish kind of holiday, and in England, which is where, you know, the bit of Great Britain I'm in, like people. Like there'll be Irish people who celebrate it, but we're not that mad keen on it. It's not a big thing.
I didn't know that.
It's not such a big thing here, and
we celebrate it hard here in Chicago.
Yeah, I bet. I was in Miami once over St. Patrick's Day. I was like, what on earth is going on? And just everyone dressed in green. I felt really out of place in my yellow shirt or something like that. So
everybody knows Graham's father, right, lives in Miami.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So he lives in Miami. So I was out visiting. This was maybe 10 years ago or something like that. And I was like, what? Just in the street, just a massive party. And I was like, what is going on? And everyone's like wearing green. I'm like, oh, it's St. Patrick's Day. Wow, you guys take this seriously. But then what you're taking seriously is just getting out, getting hammered.
Right.
And
but
British people don't need
it's serious party day.
Serious party day.
Okay, well, that's good to know, though. That's good perspective. It's not like it's something that you guys truly missed out on this year.
You know what? I think it's just another in a long line of excuses for maybe younger people to go out and enjoy themselves. And great, good for you. But it's not something my social group sort of go, hey, what are we going to do for St. Patrick's Day? No, you know. I think maybe if you were actually Irish, I work with an Irish guy. I should have asked him. Maybe I'll privately I'll get back to you and see what he see if there's anything he's going to do. But even there, I think they're all a bit like, well, have a Guinness, you know, chill out, nothing too serious. I don't know if they go crazy in actual Ireland for it, but you know, I'll let you know. But here not so much. But so what
is there
kind of
anything
things?
else then that's kind of been a bigger thing that's been canceled near you? Because here, I mean, gatherings of like, at first it was like gatherings of 100 people or more canceled, and it was gatherings of like 25 people or more, and now it's basically like, just don't have gatherings.
Yeah, sure. If everyone could just stay away from each other, that would be great. So the government have, you know, encouraged, not made it a kind of any kind of legislation or anything like that, but they've encouraged people not to go to sort of social places like pubs and clubs and things like that, gyms, I guess. Although I did get an email from my gym earlier saying, hey, it's okay, guys, the government say you should exercise and we put measures in place and stuff. So, but I'm still a bit like...
They're staying open and the government does not shut those down, yes?
Not yet, no. So, technically the government hasn't forced anything to close. I mentioned earlier that they're closing the schools on Friday, and that was like brand new information that just came out a few hours ago. But that's the first thing I think they've actually closed down, and I think that's probably a good move. And they're kind of trying to be smart about it because they realize that that's going to take people, key workers like healthcare workers or delivery, food delivery workers away from their jobs, and that's no good either. So they are keeping schools open, but you have to kind of be in a certain amount of professions to kind of qualify to do that, which I think is probably smart. They're going to have to think hard about how they work it out, but you know, it's a good move. But in terms of social gatherings, no, it's just encouragement at the moment to try and like stay away. And even where I work, they did say like, you know, we kind of want to put all these measures in place, but if you go to the pub on Friday with loads of people, it's all for nothing. So think about that. So yeah, we've definitely been asked to kind of keep those gatherings down to a minimum where we can, but no, not been told. Yeah, and that it's going to be a tough sell. How's that gone down in the States then to be told?
Well, we've had a lot more things closed, and it's kind of been city by city. So in New York, I understand is similar to Chicago, and they closed all restaurants, all bars right before St. Patrick's Day.
I bet everyone was real pleased about that.
Oh yeah. But honestly, because people were going out to the bars on Saturday so much, even though we were all told Friday by the president basically to stay home, that I think they did it saying it almost as like a punishment, like you guys can't be trusted.
Yeah. You know, I don't think we can either. They have
but they did close the schools here too.
Right.
I think almost everywhere the schools are closed now. Colleges have been closed for a while.
Yeah. I do think that's a good move, because kids are germ factories.
Yeah.
You know, they just
and they
find the germs
in school.
Yeah. They don't seem to care. My experience of my friends' kids, they just don't see.
Call all your friends' kids out right now.
Yeah, let's call them all right. Okay, Karina, you're a savage. Rosa, you know who you are.
Stop. Yeah. No kidding.
Don't worry. These are just names. It's fine. It's fine. I changed them to protect the innocent. They're not innocent.
Right.
Absolutely not.
The innocent and the sneezy.
The sneezy, yeah, absolutely. So, I was going to say, even though there's no, like forced closing, I think the cinemas have closed voluntarily, and theatres have closed. No, the sports, like certainly football has stopped. I don't know about other sports. I'm not really a big sports fan, so I kind of don't follow it that much. But I heard today, like out the corner of my ear, that the big sports broadcaster was going to put people's subscriptions like on hold for a little while, because essentially there's nothing to watch. So people kind of get free Sky Sports for a little while, because nothing going on. And you can watch loads of old sports, but who wants to watch that? Slightly worse than brand new sports, live sports. So anyway, there we go. So
what I follow had a funny joke that they missed sports so much that they were watching one of the cooking shows and got so into it.
Oh really? Do you know which one? Bake Off, right? It was Bake Off.
I think. Which one was it? I think it was like Master Chef or something like that.
Okay.
The show too, but they were like, "Oh man, it came down to the buzzer."
that's the best one. I mean, on your edge of the seat cooking show, perfect. Yeah. Well, so they have tried to sort of get rid of these big social things. And festival-wise, loads of festivals have been cancelled. Glastonbury's the big one. You heard of Glastonbury?
Yeah, the music festival, right?
Music festival, yeah. I mean, that's usually in June, but I think they've closed that.
Canceled.
Yeah, already cancelled. And loads of like conventions or exhibitions, they've been cancelled. There was one I was possibly going to go to in Germany, which was going to be in May. No, cancelled. So that's kind of a drag, but needs must, etc. So so yeah.
About, I guess how the airports are, and you're talking about, obviously there's probably no foreign travel really at this point. Is there any domestic travel?
Now all I can say is I think so. Because I've not been to an airport in quite a while, and I don't know anyone who has. I probably could. There's a few colleagues at work who I can ask about that. But I have had a colleague who flew back from the States, I think on either the day before or on the day where Trump announced, "Oh, Britain, you're disgusting as well." So no one over from Britain, and I could sort of. So I think it was Friday when he said no European travel.
Yeah.
Apart from Britain and maybe Iceland and a couple of other small countries where.
I can tell you because I was in Europe. It was Wednesday night.
Okay, Wednesday night.
That he said all of Europe, and then everybody was like, "Well, what about the UK and Ireland because they're not part of it?" And he announced it. I think it was Friday night, like you were saying.
Right.
That
we woke up to the news. So I was. I was going to do some travel soon, and woke up to the news that UK is also in as well. So I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
So, so I think it's just repatriating people is what's going on. But yeah, how things are actually in airports, I can't really say. But I can tell you that it's definitely calmed down a lot. The British airlines are definitely struggling. I think so. British Airways have asked their staff to take maybe even it was like a year off unpaid. But
British
that's
Airways.
British Airways, yeah. And now that's not confirmed, so maybe I should go and find out the real story. Fake news. I'm spreading fake. I'm so sorry, guys. But I know Virgin have asked their some of their staff to go off 3 months unpaid.
Yeah.
And I kind of think
and
that
smaller airlines in the UK, like Flybe, right?
Flybe's gone.
Yeah.
That just went under. And I don't know how EasyJet are doing, but I have got some travel booked with EasyJet in April, which I'm certain now isn't going to happen. But at the moment, it's still booked. Although my upcoming travel to it was going to be to Miami with Virgin Atlantic. They're still showing now like your flight is on time. Guess what? It isn't.
Right.
I think they just haven't updated their app yet, or whatever, updated the.
I think so. I would have figured, because you and I had talked about that trip on the side before. I would have figured that they either would have canceled it outright for you, or you would be trying to.
Yeah. So they have done, but they just for some reason haven't updated the information they input that gets pushed to apps. So, but yeah, if I turned up to the airport, they'd just be like, no chance, you're not,
right.
And I don't know what would happen if somehow I managed to get all the way to the States. Like obviously at the States they'd say you can't come in our country, and they'd fair enough. But
you have to not do anything and like stay at home for 14 days.
Right. Okay. Well, I just don't think they'd let me in. They'd just turn me around at the airport and say, how did you get here? Get back. But I would have thought that the airlines would probably be under quite a lot of scrutiny for that sort of thing, because the airlines want to, people to travel. That's their business, and if people don't travel, they haven't got a business.
A little bit to that, just because I have friends.
Yeah, of course. You just came back.
Oh, well, I also have friends that work in the airline industry too, and I think the airlines, more than anything right now, are just trying to protect their crew.
Right.
Because the problem is, the crew are people too. So,
what?
I know, right?
I had to rethink what's going on here.
So, basically, if a flight attendant, for example, or a pilot has gone over to Europe because they flew a plane,
of course,
into the States, they have to quarantine for 14 days.
Right.
And that's taking away their livelihood, because they only get paid when they're on an airplane. So from a helpfulness perspective and a business perspective, to their employees, it's they can't really in good conscience put somebody in an airplane and then basically ask them not to work for 2 weeks after that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. I know those airlines have definitely, Virgin and British Airways have cancelled tons of flights, obviously. So I feel bad for them. I'm very lucky to be in an industry where, although it's a manufacturing industry and some people need to be on the site to work, we kind of still get to work, and some people just don't have that luxury at all. And it's, people all in the sort of tourism industry are going to be hit pretty hard. So I feel bad for them. I really don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting. Probably not from their point of view. Interesting is the wrong word. It's going to be pretty terrifying.
Turbulent times.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess since you can't go on that trip now, what are some things that you're doing? Are you planning any trips during this downtime?
We'd already, so the trip I was getting at was I was going to go on holiday, on vacation to Miami, and then I was going to meet my father there, who I mentioned earlier, who lives there. He's an English guy, but he just lives in America. Good for him. In Miami, why wouldn't you?
I know, he picked a good spot.
Yeah, it's worked out great for me.
Yeah.
Just go to stay with Dad. Yeah.
You have the best places to go on holiday, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good place. So I end up going there usually once a year-ish. And then anyway, this time we were going to go over to St. John in the US Virgin Islands. Obviously not doing that now. So we don't quite know what we were going to do with that time. So Virgin, who we're flying with, have offered free of charge, we can rebook or we can get a refund. Loads of companies doing that now. So all of the other people involved with that vacation Some domestic companies for like parking and things like that, they've all kind of offered basically free refunds, which, if you think about it, is pretty good going, because like they really stand to lose out and they're just giving money back to people.
Yeah,
But
because you could choose to go somewhere else on a
yeah,
different time whenever things open up.
that's it. I think if they just offered like some kind of voucher, I would happily take that, because I will use those companies at some stage.
Yeah.
But with Virgin, they're only offering like a rebook to later on in the year, up to the end of the year, I think. And you know, there's some uncertainty about what's going to happen the rest of the year.
Right.
That's thing number one. I mean, hopefully by say November, it's all going to kind of, you know, be a hilarious story that we all laugh about, but probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah, fingers crossed that it's kind of, we're certainly over the hump of it. But you just don't know, and also we've got to kind of figure out a whole nother holiday in like a matter of days. Like it's tough to do that, really. So I think we'll probably just opt for getting a refund and then trying to rebook something else. But we did think about trying to get back to Miami in November for Thanksgiving, and seeing how things go there. We've got another trip. Well, had another trip to Amsterdam, where you've just been.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to mine you for good eating places later.
We have tons of recommendations.
Sure. Did you look at that map I sent you, which was just photo places? I don't know if that was.
I think there are a couple places that we went. I'll have to cross check, because we got recommendations from a lot of people.
Oh, sure. I bet you did. Yeah.
Cross check and let you know.
Okay, yeah. So we think I just had a couple of places eyed up to take photos.
Yeah.
And luckily, so I was going to go with my partner and two of our friends. And you know, if you're a landscape photographer, then it's pretty boring if you're doing the hobby. Mm-hmm. Like if you're with someone doing the hobby, and well, you do it like the way I do it, which is just standing in one place, kind of belligerently staring at the sun for about an hour until you get exactly the right. You end up with about.
If you're trying to do long exposure.
Well, I do like loads, but like in the same kind of environment, and then kind of piece things together. It's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. But it can be, you know, pretty dull.
It's a good thing she'll have some friends with her.
She'll have some friends with her, right, exactly. But she won't need those friends, because we're not going now. So, but yeah, anyway, we thought we would just postpone that to later in the year. That'd be quite good. A bit gutted to miss out on the tulips. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it though, it is going to, if you're Dutch, it is the best time to go and see the tulips, because no one else is going to be there. And so you take that to its logical conclusion. Like if you're near like a national park in the States, that a popular one, now's a great time to go, because you're out in the open. Hopefully not too many people. Well, no, hardly anyone around. Certainly, so if you want to go to Lower Antelope Canyon or somewhere like that, that's usually just a chaotic nightmare.
Right.
Now's your time. Hopefully that's.
So I think I just want to caveat that once, because I have heard, I don't know if it's an official communication, but they say like if you could expose the people that you're like handing the pass to, or
I see, okay,
stuff like that. So my understanding is they say like still don't go for at least a couple weeks.
Okay.
Or if you do, take like lots of precaution. And
sure,
okay, from everybody else that would be there too, but
yeah, but it's the best opportunity you have to stay away from other people.
True.
It's popular places.
True. I mean, I unfortunately don't live near any national parks. Otherwise, I would totally be considering that.
Yeah.
You live near any national parks?
In the States?
No, I mean, because you guys have some in the UK, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. I forget what we call them, but yeah, the equivalent of national parks. Yeah. We've got quite a few. Certainly up in the north, it can be quite good. So maybe it's a good time to kind of explore my own country and see what's around. So
I really like it there.
yeah. My partner did say to me, "Oh, this will be the year of like getting a tent in the car and just going out and finding somewhere fun." And I bought a drone over Christmas as a Christmas present to myself, so I can go and use that. So that'd be good. And we can fly them in national parks. So.
Oh, we can't.
No, I know.
Great.
Yeah. So we have rules and so on, but there's loads of places you can fly. So
your photography is going to be like stepping up.
I'm stepping up. If you like what you see now, whew, you're in for a treat.
Follow him.
Follow this guy. Yeah, hopefully. I kind of still getting used to it. I went out flying the other day just to sort of, see how the thing works and so on. But I was really looking forward to going to Miami and St. John and thinking I'm going to get such great stuff. And no, but eventually I will. I'll definitely go there, in the future. Planning wise, so it's a bit uncertain at the moment. We haven't really planned much. We've only just had stuff removed from us, so we'll just kind of push those things back. But we have kind of planned to go to Hawaii next year. Cool. About this time next year, so we're looking forward to that. And well, definitely fingers crossed that things are going to be back to
by
some kind of normal.
If it's not back to normal, things are rough.
Things are real rough. There'll be COVID-20. Yeah. Maybe we've got to watch out for. But yeah, so we're planning that at the moment, and we're kind of just sitting. I think we've spent a few days moping about our vacation. So we need to, I don't know, think about it. We're not in any rush to kind of do anything travel-wise. How about you? You, I know from your live stream, you're like, well, we're going to sit tight for a while, but...
Well, yeah, we're pretty grounded here. And rightfully so, because we were in Europe, and we're just trying to make sure that we're flattening the curve. But I think if everything cleared up, Derek and I we were actually looking at Hawaii too. But we're for this year. But we're also we've been thinking about other international destinations. We have a friend who she unfortunately left in February. She is doing 6 months of working in Argentina, and she is now pretty much by herself there. Nobody can really go visit her, so would want to prioritize.
Yeah, sure. Argentina, that would be such a good place to go as well. Incredible country, I think.
And I think they haven't been as affected as a lot of other places too. So.
Well, I found that in this country, it's so all the commentary is so directed inwards. And our neighbouring countries, we kind of understand what's going on. But the only real news, I mean, I guess it's my own fault. I don't really go looking for it. But the news I get is from friends from other countries. So you'll tell me what the news is in the States, and my dad obviously in the States, and I've got friends in Holland or France or whatever, and they'll say, oh yeah, things are chaos or whatever, crazy. But outside of that, I mean, I have no idea what's happening in India. And I work for a company with a head office in Japan, so my boss is Japanese, and so I get some news from Japan with him, but outside of that, don't really know what's
I've actually been trying to track down people in different countries, of course, with you, and then other places as well, just to see what the differences are. And we're all kind of in the same situation in a lot of ways. But I'm a traveler. I love learning about other places. I love just learning about how other people live. And so just from this experience alone, I want to connect with as many people as possible and bring that to life and share it. So with this interview series, generally, I mean, if there's people that I can track down in India so we can all learn what it's like there and everything, that's going to be ideal. And hopefully I can figure that out. I'm glad that you might feel the same as me.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. It's good to know kind of what's going on. And like you said, I mean, in South America, I've got no idea really what's happening. So it'll be fun to see the rest of your series.
Yeah, I need to reach out to my friend in Argentina. But like I said, she just got there. So I'm trying to let her kind of figure out what the normal used to be so she can tell me what the new normal is different from.
Yeah, okay. She has to ask a lot of questions maybe.
Yeah. But we'll see. Hopefully I can get her on board too. But this is really fun to have you be the first person that I interview, and really fun to get you on. And
thanks for asking me.
Hope everything in the UK kind of stays as stable as possible, just like everywhere else.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think it will. Like we've got a government that seems to be acting, doing stuff, and I think we're something like a couple of weeks ahead. A couple of weeks behind in terms of kind of impact from the rest of Europe. Thanks, English Channel, doing another excellent job. So to sort of, I don't want to be morbid about it, but to bring things in perspective, we've, as a nation of something like 80 million people, something like that. So not tons, not loads of people, like nothing compared to the States, but we've got quite a few people here. We've seen, I think as of this morning, about 2,600 cases, of which 104 deaths. So, and you know, places like Italy are running into the thousands, I think, of deaths. Fake news again. You know what? I can't. I kind of think I read like a number or heard like a number like that earlier on. So do your research, but it's something. It's a lot,
it
right?
changes every day too. So
Sure.
Today is.
Oh yeah, today it's thousands. Tomorrow.
Today is March 18th.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm sure tomorrow is going to be different numbers. Yesterday was.
Yeah.
So,
that's it. But it's. I think we're in the fortunate position of having seen this kind of roll across Europe a bit and going, and you know, there are mathematical models out there that have been quite strong in predicting, you know, when peaks are going to happen and so on in certain countries, and people are now using those to kind of try and find out, well, not find out, but kind of anticipate when action should be taken and things like that, which is quite a clever use of, you know, modern technology, machine learning, things like that. So good job.
I'll need to research that because I didn't know about that. That's
yeah,
cool.
we've in a company I work for, we've got a software department, and we've got some very clever people who work over in Belgium who work on things like machine learning and so on. And they're kind of saying, well, you know, in Belgium, it's predicted that it's going to be something like the 6th of May, we're going to hit the kind of top end of the peak or something like that. And it gives
how much data has really helped us within this crisis globally. We're all leveraging data in order to inform our decisions.
Yeah. It's I mean, again, it's the time, you know, we're at kind of the unfortunate time that it's sort of happened, but at the same time, it's happened at the best time in history for us to be able to deal with it and predict what to do. Excuse me, and you know, what we should be doing to try and, you know, prevent things or slow things down. I mean, it's you know, I guess it's a two-sided coin in that respect.
Yeah. Well, we're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
We really are.
Yeah.
Well,
but, you know,
this is an awesome talk. Hopefully everybody else felt that way too, because I was really pleased to get Graham on and just get a perspective that's different from us in the States.
Sure.
So I know that I said earlier how to find you on Instagram, but we'll put it up somewhere down. I don't know, around. I'll figure that out.
Just over my face. I know. Yeah.
How to find him. Is there anything else you want to point viewers to?
No, I think I'm not very. I haven't got a big presence in social media. Like Instagram's really my only outlet, and I'm not great at that either. I should take some tips from you, but I just have like one account, and it's my name, Graham Shellswell. So yeah, head to that if you want to see some landscape photography. No people. I have no people in my photographs, much to the disappointment of some of my friends who are like, well, of course no one likes it. Like, you haven't got any people there.
My goodness. Then I guess I need to listen to your friends too, because most of my photos, there are no people too.
Oh, okay. Well, no, don't listen to it. He's the guy who said that has got, I think, almost like you know, 10 followers or something. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
So he's not an authority, you're saying?
He's not an authority. He's also not trying, and also trying to wind me up. So
right. He's trying
thanks, that guy. Yeah. Anyway, good.
We like to tease each other.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. That's the good demonstration of British sense of humour between male peers. Yeah. Is you can't actually say nice things to each other. You have to be. I think on one of my
it's him being affectionate. You say
exactly. It's him being affectionate. He on one of my posts, he wrote the comment, I begrudgingly like this, and you could hear the sort of gritted teeth. I think I had a photograph featured in a magazine or something like that, and he was like, I like it, but I hate that I like it. It was that kind of thing. But yeah, what a nice guy.
Yeah, sounds like you are really got some good friends there.
I got some great friends, right? He's actually
one of this crisis with.
Yeah, he's for sure one of my best friends. What is that? Oh, that doesn't. doesn't make me into a particularly
I'm finding this
judge a
really
character.
funny, by the way. I hope
Okay, great.
everybody else is too.
Oh, good. I hope so too. It's meant to be. Okay.
All right.
Good stuff. Well,
thanks again, Graham. I hope you guys, all of you over in the UK, but you especially, stay healthy, safe.
Thank you very much.
And have a really good evening. I know it's kind of late there, so thanks again for jumping on.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey travelers, don't forget to subscribe and let's hang out more. Here are some links to other helpful travel videos on my channel, and press that notification bell so you don't miss any new and awesome travel videos to come.